I'm Jay. That's Castle Grayskull. And we're going to unbox it right now. Wow, this is pretty much a real dream come true. I was not expecting to see this at all, especially this early. The last time I unboxed Castle Grayskull was in 1985. So this is, wow, this is a huge milestone for me. Anyways, guys, without further ado, let's unbox this gemstone of Castle Grayskull. Let's get into this, guys. So, we have our trusty knife here, given to us by Nikki. Thank you, Nick. All right, so let's get into this thing, shall we? That's it. It is now officially mine. All right, so quick tip. Most of the stuff is flat on this side. There's a cardboard base that actually holds it together. So what you want to do is you want to flip it on its front side, just like that. And then what we'll do is just take it like this, lift up all of the corners here, and you have to actually just be brave and pull on the damn thing. I saw the other guys doing it and I was thinking, all right, how hard could this be? But it is actually really hard. I got it, right, bro? I've got it. Oh my gosh, this is this is ridiculous. Okay, in there. Come on, baby. Come on. All right, so as you can see here, or maybe not. All right, so already marking up my walls here. Been cradled inside the negative. Okay, here, let's just go through a few of the contents. Here we have the sorceress. She's actually inside her own box, her little baggie, sorry. She's in a baggie. It also includes the instructions and the sticker sheet. Sweet. So we're gonna put that aside. I'm gonna lay all this stuff out. So, but basically, you know what? I'm gonna lay it out first. That way it's easier for everybody to see. Whoa! Holy crap, guys. Oh my goodness. There it is. The true image of Castle Grayskull. Holy crap. This is insane. I'm gonna come in for some more closer details, but just on the overall image of it, just the, oh, it harkens back to when I was a kid and I first pulled this out on Christmas morning. Well, actually my brother pulled it out, and the details are just so much more, well, pretty much everything. This is, it has so much more detail. Holy crap, guys. This is incredible. I really have to say, I haven't seen anything quite like this, ever. Now, I missed out completely on the Castle Grayskull from the Masters of the Universe Classics. So for me, this is my first look at a sort of modernized version of Castle Grayskull. And I have to say, I am very impressed. It could have done with a bit of a wash to bring out the highlights of the actual crevasses inside of the actual stone. But you know what? That's something which I can do on my own. I can actually, this is a customizer's dream, as I said earlier. This is incredible. Look at the detail that's actually inside the castle itself. The sculpting work is honestly amazing. I don't know if Four Horsemen had any involvement in this. I think someone will definitely be able to tell me. But look, you can actually see a real ledge embedded inside of that part of the castle, which is incredible. And like I said before, you can actually see the hidden door. Beautifully done. There are those white speckles, which I'm pretty sure are actually mixed into the plastic. But you know what? They don't bother me, as I thought that they would. So you know what? I'm actually much happier with the way this turned out than I was when I first previewed it on the channel. Wonderful attention to detail. I'm literally in love with this now. I can't believe how much this has changed my opinion about the release of this castle. I was already excited, but you know, it was like neon green in the photographs. But when it's actually in hand, you can actually take a look at it, you can actually examine it. It's a lot better than I was expecting. Again, a customizer's dream. I really do think that if you take a dry brush to this, or maybe a wash, It's going to bring out all those wonderful details. And it's only $100. So, you know, if you pick up 2 of these, or, you know, even if you only have 1 and you still just do a great bit of, you know, just a simple bit of customization, I think you're going to be happy. But this, the Jawbridge, is just the piece de resistance on this. And I said that wrong on purpose, guys. But seriously, look at the wood grain in there. Look at the detail in the cross arms and the actual heraldry that's actually embedded inside that shield. Crazy. These pieces here, they didn't have to do this. You know, usually they would, like, just like the original castle, it could have been all green. But look, there's actually paint in there for the actual rivets and the crossbar and the log. Having said that, it really does have that unique feature which you use the power sword to actually open up the Jawbridge. They've brought that over here to the new 2021 version, but they've added an interesting gimmick. If you take a sword, and it's supposed to be the power sword, but in this case we only have Skeletorn's bone sword. If you take the sword and actually insert it into the keyhole, once you pull it out, it actually releases the Jawbridge on its own. That's a huge bonus compared to the original playset, in which you had to actually sort of push down the Jawbridge. This one is set with a actual spring-loaded mechanism. And I'll try to get in here so you can see what that is. Yeah, if you see that, it's a fully spring-loaded mechanism. So, closing the Jawbridge and using the sword from the outside, you don't have to have any help from the inside. And it does get stuck, I do have to say, but that's amazing. It actually drops on its own. Oh, what a wonderful feature, I've got to tell you. And the Jawbridge itself is beautifully detailed. I haven't even shown that part of it, but it is wonderful. The teeth, wow. Look at those things. Just, somebody has not been brushing, I got to tell you. We've lost a few molars. The incisors are kind of worn away. But yes, what an incredible, incredible piece. And just an iconic aspect to Castle Grayskull. Well, guys, there's nothing left to do but to put this together. Let's do it. All right, the first one we're going to do is the elevator. So, interesting choice that they made to actually make it 2 different pieces. That definitely was not the way it was done on the original. So, we're just going to place it here, and we're going to just... Wow, that's tight. Hold on. There we go. Nice. All right, that one's done. All right, the next one we're going to install is the actual platform for the elevator. Now, there are 2 small notches here and here, and they correspond to this hole on this side, and then there's another hole on this side. All right, here we go. So we're just going to line them up, line the whole thing up. Then you just have to, and this is what I mean by, I don't think the kids are going to be able to do this on their own. So that one's pretty tight, and then this one, there we go. Nice and tight on that side too. Perfect. Alright, so now we're going to install the computer console. So there are 4 pegs here and here. They install into these 4 holes here. Alright, so we're just going to come in. We're going to come and line them up. And there she goes. And that's it. Alright, so now we're going to do this top ledge here on this side. This is the one with the green banner. Okay? So we're just going to line up the slot. And there's another notch here. And just push it right in. And that's it. Alright, so now we're going to do this ledge. It's going to come in on this side. That's it. And then we're going to do this larger ledge with the green banner. And we're going to come in on this side. Should be like that. And there it goes. Perfect. Alright, so now we're going to do the other computer console on this side of the castle. So we just line up the 4 holes with the 4 pegs. And we just pop it right in. There she goes. Alright, now, we're going to do the trapdoor ledge, and before I do that, I'm just going to take the throne and pop it right in there. That way, when I release it, it'll actually do the trapdoor mechanism. So the way this actually works is, there is a mechanism underneath where when you twist the throne this way, the proper way, it actually reveals the latch and allows it to fall over. Now, when you're putting it back together, you need to hold on to the base so that when you turn it, it locks back in. All right, so let's install this now. So we just line up the holes as always. Okay, there it goes. Now I'm gonna have to get up. There we go. Finally. Alright, so before we stop, this one's a little bit more work. It seems like this one here doesn't always want to fit in, so don't give up. You really have to shove it in there to make sure that it's in. Alright, so if we want to check out how it works now, with the throne in place, all we have to do is turn the throne, and when it hits a certain point, somebody falls right through the ledge. Okay, so here we have all the other accessories. Let's start putting them into place. So, the weapons rack, oh man, I'm all Butterfingers today. The weapons rack itself, usually it's traditionally set here. That's usually where I put it anyway. This strange thing, which I think is another weapons rack, you know what, let's position this right here. Okay, if we back up here to the training dummy, let's take this little guy and we'll put him right over here. Alright, and now, for the gun turret, we're going to place it back where it traditionally belongs, which is right up here. Now, this is the best place for it, because if you try to put it here, it's only going to be able to shoot up. So this is definitely the right place for this particular accessory. It also has the added bonus, in this case, that it can actually turn. And that's something that the vintage version absolutely could not do. Finally, actually, we're going to not forget about the ladder. I always forget about this little thing. This actually has its own place. It used to come here, traditionally. Now, we have these two poles here and these two empty pegs here. So now it just affixes itself here and rests so that people can climb out to this particular ledge. Alright, so believe it or not, I didn't even realize this, but I was speaking to Core here, and he basically pointed something out. He pointed out that the reason the ladder is actually on this side is because there's an elevator here. So the elevator will bring you up, and then you can actually get up to the ledge for a lookout. So then I being the smartass that I am, I said, well, fine, how do you get to the other side then? Well, Core basically showed how much of a fool I am. He said, well, why don't you take the ladder and put it right where these two pegs are? Yeah, I'm an idiot. So, yeah, apparently they thought about that too. Congratulations, Mattel. You showed them how much of a moron I am. Finally, who controls the castle? In this case, facing outward, we're going to have the powers of good controlling Castle Grayskull. And if we pan back, and I put this little guy down, we now see Castle Grayskull complete. I'll bet you thought I forgot about the sorceress. Well, here she is, and I'm going to be doing a full review on her, but I just wanted to showcase how great she looks, especially in the same backdrop as the Castle of Grayskull. They really did a great job on resculpting her. She looks amazing. I am very impressed with the way she turned out. Honestly, she really does remind me of the original sorceress that I had, and still have actually downstairs. I should bring her together during her complete review, because honestly, she deserves a review of her own. But yeah, guys, the sorceress is here with her signature staff. So let's just put that in her hand. No, Tilana! No! Unfortunately, she is kind of top-heavy. She's got that entire back piece, and it's really kind of hard to keep her standing, but once you get her in a good pose, she stands really well. So, it's only right to actually put her on top, inside Grayskull herself, so that she can stand watch over the Castle of Mystery. And there we have it, everybody. The complete Castle Grayskull. This is simply breathtaking, everybody. They really did put their A-game into this one. I have to tip my hat to Mattel. Everything has been wonderfully recreated to the most minute detail. Look at the slabs which are on the floor here. Definitely not part of the original. The sticker for the prison at the bottom of the castle, wonderfully redone and reimagined. The training dummy, honestly, it could be, it couldn't be, but they decided to bring it back, and honestly, I wouldn't have it any other way. The elevator, wonderfully recreated and functional as well. And then it even has its small little gargoyle, which you can use to bring up the elevator and then latch on to the bottom to secure the elevator in place. Wonderful. We also have the monitor and the computer station. Incredibly rendered this time, not just a cardboard cutout. Completely three-dimensional with a sticker showing Eternia and the surrounding planets. We have this extra little piece here. I believe it is a weapon mount, and if we just grab a small weapon, we can actually put it right on top. Just like that. The ladder, wonderfully recreated and much more structurally sound this time. Wonderful details. This brand new standard. Amazing. It's a dragon of sorts, but it has some mystical powers as well. Then we come to the throne room, and we see the sorceress hanging out and just observing, especially in her throne, which is wonderfully rendered here. Love the backing sticker. Again, so reminiscent of the original. The trapdoor inlaid with its actual carpet motif, staring back at its enemies, ready to release itself. And of course, we have the additional console, which replaces the Android. Unfortunately, they didn't include that, but we did get something in place, so all of these additional extras really do make up for it. Then we have the traditional green standard. What a wonderful callback to the original playset. And the gun turret itself. This time, it can turn and shoot in any direction. Wonderful. And of course, the classic banner flag, which depicts, in this case, that the forces of good are still in control of the castle. This is a dream come true, guys, and I'm so glad that Mattel has brought it out for the Masters Universe Origins collection. Wow, so what are my final thoughts for this particular playset? I have to tell you, it's a little bit mixed. I am super excited that this playset has been released in 2021. Let's be honest, guys. Toys are not really well marketed for kids above 10 years old. This playset harkens back to an age where, you know, kids really loved playing with action figures and Barbie dolls and playsets as big as this. Today's children's, well, their attitudes are different. You know, technology has pretty much become a huge thing for kids these days with iPads, their cell phones. Most kids have cell phones these days. So they have a lot of different stimuli to really give them a lot of attention. Something like this, which is, again, something from an older time that they don't really understand, right? Toys are no longer marketed at the cartoons that they're watching, not in this entirety anyway. A playset like this is really something which harkens back to when I was a kid. And that's actually one of the main reasons why I picked this up. Mainly because it really did remind me of when I used to play with Castle Grayskull. But more so, it reminded me of that Christmas morning back in 1985 when Santa Claus dropped this off on my couch. So, in that regard, I am in love with this playset. It really does capture all of the great things about Castle Grayskull back in 1985. The deep set eyes, the inlet nose, the actual foreboding nature of this mysterious Grayskull castle, which wasn't even gray, it was green. But I love the way it's been reimagined here in this wonderful motif. The new drawbridge, the wonderful new sculpting of the actual face of Castle Grayskull, this crown that he wears, the turrets at the top, and of course this beautiful sculpting on the rest of the castle. The interior is so reminiscent of the original castle. The way the negative is used, the space that's inside is used so intelligently, and really even the way the ledges are actually placed is very much reminiscent of the original playset. Although everything's a little bit tighter, everything's a little bit more snug, it still has that wonderful feeling. On the other side, there are a few things which I see as a little bit lacking. The sculpture, as beautiful as it is, it could have used a little bit of a dark wash to really enhance some of these different features. As they are right now, it really is kind of, well, plain. you can't really see any detail, like other than the superficial nature of it. You really can't see any additional detail here in the crevices. The only real detail that you can really see on the face are these spray painted nose and eyes. Airbrushed nose and eyes, and a little bit of the airbrushing here that you can see on what I imagine is supposed to be moss, but really it's actually more of a vibrant neon green. So it is kind of like jarring the way it's juxtapositioned in with all the rest of the darker motifs. It's really kind of strange yet wonderful at the same time. They also have, again, this inlaid speckling here. It's all these little white flecks that are all over the castle. I'm almost 100% certain that these are actually embedded into the plastic. I'm not sure if I like it or hate it, but it doesn't offend me. So in that sense, I'm okay with it. The way the castle is actually produced is, again, harkening back to the original castle. However, this being 2020, I would have hoped for some newer details, something else to add to the castle. I've already have this, technically, as it is. The original playset was just fine the way it was back in 1985. This being 2020, something additional would have been nice. And, you know, the extra flag, the extra banner that's on the other side, that's neat. But the trapdoor feature, it's been done. And, you know, the old saying is true, if it's not if it's not broke, don't fix it. But for my money, and I do say that this is a $100 product now, back in 1985, of course, it was $35, whatever it was, and inflation brings up the cost, but it would have been nice to maybe have, I don't know, rocket firing features, maybe an additional trapdoor somewhere, or perhaps additional sculpts for, you know, the robot, which was fully sculpted in the classics version of the Castle Grayskull. That would have been nice. However, I do have to admit, the fully sculpted computer and the other additional console, those are wonderful touches. Perhaps even an opening door for the actual dungeon, which is at the bottom of the trapdoor, that would have been kind of cool too. However, I do have to say, for $100, this actually is pretty nice. The fact that it did come with the Sorceress, that is added value to the whole production. And it really does help me to really want to buy this set, especially with the inclusion of the Sorceress. Well guys, that was my review of the Masters of the Universe Origins Castle Grayskull. What are your thoughts, guys? Is this a wonderful product? Do you guys really enjoy this particular playset? I have to say, it's really throwing me back all the way back to the 1980s, and I can't wait to have this displayed on my shelf with all my other Masters of the Universe Origins figures. But please, tell me in the comments below, are you looking forward to this new playset? Have you already pre-ordered it? Having seen the review, does it change your mind about the playset? Were you kind of on the fence about it before, but now you're definitely going to buy it? Or have you decided, you know what, there just aren't enough features on it that need to be there, and you're going to pass on it? Please guys, leave those comments in the comment section below. Guys, as always, if you enjoyed this episode, please do leave me a like. It really helps me out. If you have any comments or suggestions on anime, cartoons, toys, collectibles, or anything else you'd like me to review, please leave those in the comment section below. And consider subscribing, as it helps YouTube to realize I'm doing a good job, and you guys enjoy my work. Well guys, as always, thank you very much for watching. Geek proud.